Hey guys, this is Captain Frugal reporting for Dewey, your friendly neighborhood Frugal, and today we're going to be doing August 16th's top and bottom 3 comics of the week. Alright guys, as usual, got my notes here. Thanks for joining me today for this top and bottom 3 comics of the week. This week I read 13 comic books, and just so you know, please don't get pissy and mad at me. You can also share your views down below of what your top and bottom comic books were for the week. This is based on what I've read in my personal opinion, so it is swayed, and biased based on what I like, and that's okay, because same as yours. Yours are influenced as well, so if I miss something that you really think I should check out, please let me know. I know I've been meaning to start checking out Catwoman, but I tend to like to get books from issue 1 and read on, so I might have to dive in that if I have some time. But, it's a lot of comics to read through, as well as I like to pick up old series and read them from the start too, and I'm currently working on one, and I got a long way to go. So with that said, let's first start with my top today. These are the books I think that deserve more attention, or deserve your attention, maybe worth putting on your pull list, that kind of thing, or at least the top of the bottom of the barrel. Alright, and so today's, here are my notes here, wiggle. Okay, my number 3 book, let's see, was Savage Avengers number 4. Yeah, Savage Avengers number 4. I gave it a 7.2 out of 10. I know this is not a lot of people's favorite book. For some reason, I like this, though. I thought the cover was cool. I think that's something that people need to put more thought and attention to. I remember the days of going to the comic shop, looking at the covers of these books, and having that influence me what to get. Now, with today's price point, that's really not the way to do things. They're just too expensive to do that, especially since covers today are not like they used to be. They're pretty misleading today, or, completely different artist, and when you open up the book, it's completely something different inside. But anyway, I thought this book had a cool cover. I think the art's pretty good for this style of book, because the Savage Avengers is more of a dark, gritty kind of book, so I think the dark or gritty kind of art style works for this book. The story, I think, has been interesting, and this one actually makes it even a little bit more interesting. I recently in this series, I found that Deathlock has been overpowered, if you will, and you get a little more insight on this Deathlock and who this Deathlock is, which was a nice spin. What I really been enjoying so far is this book has been doing a good job of utilizing B, C, and even D-list characters. I'm a fan of the Black Knight. I've been probably since he was on the Avengers, really a long way back then. And I just never feel that Dane Whitman gets enough attention. When he got his most recent mini-series, it really even just wasn't all him, and now he shares the mantle. Not a big fan of that. I don't hate it, but not a big fan of it either. So once again, my number 3 pick was Savage Avengers number 4. My number 2 pick is one I almost missed. I didn't realize this issue was out, so I got lucky there, and that was issue number 785 of The Flash. Yes, once again, The Flash 785. I gave this book a 7.21. I can't speak today. 7.21. I thought it had a nice twist with the Night Flash. We're getting like alternate reality flashes, and one of the things mentioned earlier in the book is that how come Barry is good in every universe that he's been in, and then we were reading this sub story there in the book with the Night Flash, and he wasn't good, and then there's a twist to it, and I like that twist. So that was a nice twist. I don't want to give that away. It's also a good book into the Dark Crisis tie-in, and let's be honest, it gives us some additional insight about the Justice League that everybody knew. I mean, I'm not spoiling anything here. Nobody thought the Justice League was dead. Let's be realistic here. We just knew they were away for a little bit. That was DC trying to get some attention with the Justice League dead, but nobody bought that crap. Nobody bought that line. And so this gives more insight into that. So once again, Flash number 785. Solid art, fun story. There's just something about the Flash that is continuously over the probably last couple of years has been delivering well, in my opinion. I've been enjoying that series. And my number one, which continues to surprise me and make me happy. And this one I was really quite impressed with. I really am, because I think we're hitting the right notes, but this is dangerous territory for comic book writers to screw up. So I hope this doesn't end up dropping the ball and screwing up with the writer here. And that was Daredevil number 2. I gave this book an 8 out of 10. And if you know me, to get an 8, you have to have a really good book. So anyway, Daredevil number 2, the art style, I think fits the book. It's, once again, more of a dark and gritty kind of style, which fits this and fits the tone. And the story style, the style of this story, if you will, really fits Daredevil. And what I mean that is they're taking the roots of the character. One of the things that makes him special, and that's one of the things a lot of writers do today that makes me aggravated. They twist the character around to fit their means and to fit their story. Especially big picture writers that tend to fail on writing when it deals with actual characterization, like Bendis and Slott. They tend to fail in that. They have big picture ideas, but they'll just cram any character and mold the character to fit the story. Whereas a really good comic story is driven by the character. And this, we get that. We get that with this issue of Daredevil. It's a solid issue, and I don't want to go into the depth of it, but it really does utilize the character to serve the story. So I think this is, if you have not been checking it out, Daredevil number 2, definitely I think you should go get Daredevil number 1 and 2. I think this is a great time to be reading Daredevil. All right, but before I get to my bottom 3 picks, I want to take a moment and say thank you to these people right here. Without these people, this channel would not be possible. And I mean that. I do not monetize this channel. This channel gets all of its money based on the Patreon and subscribe star support that we get, as well as any merch sales or one-time donations. So if you can check the info bar, you're going to see that there's access to all those things if you want to give a one-time donation or whatever. And if you do, you do get special videos. You get a lot of different things. I do special comic videos, video game videos. I'm posting one up real soon here. I'm putting up guitar lessons in there very soon here. You're going to be getting more info on that. I've been working on recording that for those people in that, as well as music. So you're going to get music too. So you get a lot of stuff. So if you're interested in comic books, games, tech, you know, I try to have all that on this channel. Things that interest me. I know it's a little self-serving there. I get it. But, you know, I find if we don't do what we're passionate about, then it's just a job. And to be honest with you, I don't make much off of this. That's for sure. Matter of fact, I spend more on it than I get in donations. So yeah, I probably would have had to quit by now if I didn't enjoy it. All right. So with that said, let's dive into the bottom 3, and then we're going to look at the ones that didn't fit either of them. All right. So number 3 in the bottom 3 was Dark Crisis Young Justice number 3. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Now, just so you know, this was a step up. Last issue of Dark Crisis Young Justice was absolute garbage. It was trash. I would have said stay away from this series. This one seems to get away from that crappy dialogue. This issue is a little bit of redemption for the series. A little. I wouldn't say this means, hey, this is okay, it makes up for everything, go out and get the series. No, this is still a let's wait and see what happens. Probably get it in trade if it ends up being decent. And the art was decent in this book, but the kicker is the dialogue was a lot better than the last one. The last one was just shoehorned bullcrap in there that didn't need to be. So once again, that's Dark Crisis number 3 for my number 3 bottom with a 7 out of 10. My number 2 was Captain Marvel number 40. Captain Marvel number 40, I gave it a 6.85 out of 10. Now, before everybody jumps on these are Carol Danvers here. No, I like Carol Danvers. Anybody who knows my channel, has been a viewer of this channel for a long time, knows I was a fan from issue 1 of her original series. Okay, I don't like how she's been written a lot here and there, but this particular run has not been that bad in most cases. But this issue has a couple things that make me scratch my head, like the general public, they're seeing this new binary and they're starting, and they originally thought it was Captain Marvel. Why? Just because it looked a little like her? I mean, if you think about it, would you have really seen this superhero enough to know who Captain Marvel really was? I just didn't buy that very much. I don't think the normal person would know Carol's past either to go, oh, that's Carol's, you know, she's just as binary right now. It just didn't make a lot of sense. The art really was not good in this issue either. The particular perspectives in the backgrounds were just not good at all. They were really, really poor, but the story did move at a good pace. So I only give this issue a 6.85 out of 10. My number two at the bottom of the barrel. I mean, that was my number two at the bottom of the barrel. My number one at the bottom of the barrel. This one continues to disappoint me, and that really does make me sad because I expected a lot more out of this. And that's Black Adam number 3. I gave it a 6.8 out of 10. Once again, Black Adam. This is a number 3 of 12. And it's a slow issue. The pacing just really didn't add any real depth to the story. The art's decent at best. But I figure if you went to the comic shop and you flipped through this, you wouldn't get it. You'd just skip it. There just hasn't been enough in this to make you go, wow, this is a good one. I mean, this is such an opportunity of a character that really hasn't been fully explored. The real opportunity to gain people's attention on this character, especially since DC's trying to make him the anti-hero. You know, a big switch, which I tend to like him as a villain. I sometimes get a little sad when they take a really good villain and turn him into an anti-hero because of the attention and popularity they get. I might get a lot of flame here, but for example, Venom. I liked him when he was a psychotic nut, and I thought that made him a good villain. But then when they started pushing more on the eating brains, and then which got a little silly, and then they went even farther, and then started making him an anti-hero. I know a lot of people love him. My son loves him. It just lost it for me. I liked him as the crazy, but that's me. All right, those are my bottom. Now let's look at the ones that didn't make lists, because I read 13 issues. So those DC versus Vampires, All Out War number 2, I gave it a 7.12 out of 10. I thought the art was a bit messy in this issue, and the story continues to be interesting, though. I want to see where this goes. I really do. I've been enjoying DC vs. Vampires and all the incarnations that are coming out. This next one almost made the top 3, and that was Nightwing number 95. The art was okay. The story is pretty darn good. I'm enjoying the pacing of the book. But the thing is, the ending was a bit jarring. Do we really need to destroy a secret identity? I don't like that when they do things like that. Maybe it'll be a surprise twist. No, I doubt it, because the way they made it pretty obvious that he knew who he was, right? That Blockbuster figures out who Dick, is, that he is Nightwing, because, well, when his mask is off, because, that little mask really hides somebody's identity. You're in for a penny, you're in for a pound on comic books. But anyway, I found that the ending is like, do we need to do that? I tend to find that revealing superheroes' identities doesn't tend to lead to good stories, but that's just my opinion. Another one, Fortnite X Marvel Zero War, number 3. I gave it a 7.03. When I get into this, I get into this for my kids. My son loves Fortnite, and this book was just silly fun. It has a lot of Wolverine action, and you can take that any way you want. Wolverine in action. So check that out if you're interested in that. Another one I read was Hulk number 8. We have the Banner of War finale. It's a decent story with decent art. But, I'm not a big fan of this incarnation of Hulk, but I will say it's been a bit fun. So I gave it a 7.04 out of 10. If you like Hulk, you might want to check it out. Another one I read was finishing off Aquaman and the Flash, number 3 of 3. I thought that, it was a little weird making the Flash out like he's a bad husband. That was a little weird. But, because saving the Earth makes you a bad person because you can't spend enough time with your loved one. Hey, you can't spend time with your loved one if you were dead in the first place. But anyway, the dialogue was a little bit bad in this one. I mean, think about this. The men just don't talk like that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm old, and I'm from an older generation. But as guys, we just don't talk about feelings like that much. I mean, for example, let's say we were at the gym and we're working out, and one guy goes, "Hey, I'm getting divorced," and the other guy would be like, "Oh man, sorry, that sucks." We don't usually sit there and go, "Why?" But we just don't. We don't have long dialogues about that. Then we get home to our wives, and our wives will ask us, "Hey, what happened? He's getting divorced." Well, why? I don't know. He's getting divorced. It's just the way us guys tend to be. But maybe I'm old school. What are your thoughts on that? Are you old school like that? And overall, this book was a little anticlimactic. It was just okay. Nothing to run out and get. I gave it a 7.01. So not terrible, just nothing great. Another one I read is Batman Superman World's Finest number 6. This is, I think, the first time it didn't make the top 3. And I gave it a 7.02. This is a filler issue. I won't say it was bad. It was an okay issue. It was good, and art was solid, but it was a filler issue. If you miss getting this one, you're not really going to miss out on the long story. It was getting Robin, and that was it. A little bit of Robin's story. It was okay, just nothing wonderful. Another one, let's see, was checking out my notes here, making sure I didn't miss anything here. There we go. Iron Cat number 3 of 5. I gave it a 7.1 out of 10. It was a fun story, decent art. This may be a good book for you if you're a Black Cat fan. If you're not a Black Cat fan, you might as well probably just skip it. But if you're a Black Cat fan, it's pretty cool. Do we need to continue to put people in Iron Man armors? No, not really. But you know what? What I'm interested to see here is if Marvel can actually expand on this relationship. You know, get Black Cat more woven into the Marvel universe. She's a cool character that never really has gotten enough attention, in my opinion there. Alright, well there you have it, the comic books that I've read. Let me know what you've read, what you've enjoyed, and what you didn't enjoy, what I should be avoiding, and hey, recommendations are always recommended. Once again, thank you for your time, everybody. I greatly appreciate it. I don't want to ramble on too much. You all have a wonderful day, and take care.